Continuing chapter 10, I'd made some updates to our slides last night. We already went over this one, a net listing. It's illegal in New Jersey. Now, I told you I want to find out why, and I was going to do a little research why it's legal anywhere, but it is legal in 3 states, the net listings. It's not legal in New Jersey. So that's all you need to know for exams. And you also need to know what a net listing is. It's a listing where the owner tells you how much money they want to net in their pocket at the end of the day, and any amount you can sell and get above that amount, you get to keep as your commission. Okay. So on the next slide, we'll go over, I put together a slide for this with full details, a little more explanation, since we had a couple more questions about it yesterday. All right, the MLS, that's the multiple listing service, but these days we look at it as the multiple listing system. It's like a computer system where we put our listings in so that we could share our listing inventory with other brokerages as required by the Real Estate Commission and the Administrative Code 11.5-6.4 to be specific. By sharing our listings with each other, we could usually sell property faster and at a higher price than where we try to sell it by ourselves to the limited number of buyers and renters that we may be working with. So this way we give an opportunity for those thousands of other agents and the people that they're working with to see our listing. We're more likely to sell it faster and at a higher price. So, I put together this slide here for net listings, what a net listing actually is and how it works. Because we know it's illegal in New Jersey. We know the basics. It's seller says they want this much money in their pocket, and anything you get above that, you get to keep as your commission. So how would you ever write what your commission is on a listing agreement? I don't get that part, how it actually works in practice. We don't really need to know that. We don't need to get into that. It lends itself to fraud and dishonesty. So I don't know why they allow it in 3 states anyway. So how net listings work. In a net listing, the seller sets their minimum amount they want to receive from the sale of their property. Anything above that amount becomes the agent's compensation. And they give an example here. The seller wants $400,000 in their pocket. That's how much they want to net. But the agent sells the home for $475,000. So they get to keep $75,000, the difference, as their commission. Now, unlike traditional percentage-based commissions, this structure gives the agent direct incentive to sell the property for as much as possible, but also opens the door for potential abuse. So why are they legal in some states? Well, net listings are only legal in 3, California, Texas, and Florida. In California, it's legal only with sophisticated and independently represented clients and full disclosure. In Texas, its seller must require it and be clearly familiar with the market values. So you want somebody who is savvy with the real estate values. And in Florida, there's no extra statutory conditions. However, if you're a member of NAR, National Association of Realtors, you're prohibited from engaging in net listings because they're unethical. These states allow net listings under strict conditions to protect sellers from exploitation. The rationale is that informed, experienced sellers can negotiate such agreements without being misled, though that's a big assumption to take. So why are these net listings controversial? Well, they're banned in 47 states and DC because they create a conflict of interest. Agents may prioritize their own profit over the seller's best price. Risk undervaluing the property. Agents might persuade sellers to accept a lower net to maximize their own gain. So they're lying to them about how much their home is really worth. Initially anyway. And they violate fiduciary duties. Agents are legally bound to act in their seller's best interest. Net listings can undermine that. Even in legal states, the National Association of Realtors forbids members from using net listings or advertising them on the MLS, which limits exposure and transparency. If you ever consider a net listing structure or advertising someone who is, it's worth asking: is the seller truly informed or trusting the agent just too much? That's where the ethical rubber meets the road. All right. So subagency. An agent of an agent is a subagent. And often people refer to as you as a salesperson being an agent of your broker, so therefore you're a subagent. I think the exam even asks the question that way. When in reality, subagency is actually something else. It's really something totally different. That really is not technically subagency. Subagency, let's see. Subagency in real estate is one of those concepts that seems simple on the surface, but has layers of nuance, especially when it comes to loyalty and liability. So, your typical agent, okay, agent versus subagent, what's the difference? An agent is working for a broker. They're typically considered a salesperson or associate licensee. They represent the broker and on the broker's behalf in the transaction. Their duties flow through their broker to their client, and sometimes referred to as subagents of their broker. However, that's technically not what subagency is. A subagent, on the other hand, is an agent who does not represent the buyer, even though they may be working with the buyer to help them buy a property. However, there's no buyer agency relationship that was ever created. So the agent can represent someone in the transaction. So someone who is cooperating with the listing broker to help them sell the property on behalf of the listing broker. They're legally bound to represent the seller, even though they're working with the buyer. So they owe the seller fiduciary duties, not the buyer, despite working with the buyer. Something sounded a little bit off there. So subagency occurs when the real estate agent, who is not the listing agent from another brokerage, helps sell a property on behalf of the listing broker, but still represents the seller, not the buyer, yet is working with that buyer to buy a property. Okay, that sounds a little repetitive there. I got to clear that up a little bit. Maybe I can get rid of a line and increase the size of this font. So I'll do that another time. So how does it work? Well, let's say a buyer walks into an open house hosted by an agent who isn't the listing agent. They're working for another agency. I don't know why they would be doing that, but okay, let's just say it's usually done with new construction. That agent is cooperating with the listing broker and becomes a subagent. The buyer might assume the agent's working for them, but legally that agent is working for the seller. This can lead to confusion and potential conflicts of interest. So why does it matter? Why is it controversial? Why it matters and is considered controversial. Subagency has fallen out of favor. It used to be popular in the 90s, but it creates legal and ethical risks due to lack of buyer representation. Buyers may unknowingly share confidential information with someone who's loyal to the seller. It has legal liability. If a subagent misrepresents something, the listing broker and the seller can be held liable. And conflict of interest. It's hard to serve the seller while interacting closely with the buyer. To shift away from subagency, many states restrict or eliminate subagency in favor of buyer agency agreements these days, where agents represent buyers directly. I'm surprised New Jersey didn't get rid of it. This shift clarifies who represents whom. It reduces legal risks, and it protects buyers from unintentional disclosures that they may make. That's basically subagency. Okay. How the value of a home is seen by the appraiser, the real estate agent, and the owner when trying to sell it anyway. So The only one that really matters here is the appraiser's opinion, because most people are not buying all cash. They're going to get some kind of a loan to purchase property. And the appraiser is an independent person hired to provide an unbiased estimate or opinion of value. So the lenders will rely on what the appraiser says because they got no skin in the game. They're getting paid either way. The lender usually picks them from a list of licensed appraisers. They send them out, and the buyer is the one that actually pays the appraiser. Uh, but they don't work for either one. They're independent. They provide an unbiased estimate or opinion of value. And if a house, you made an offer on a property to purchase, and the appraiser says it's not worth it, you're not going to get the loan because there's not enough collateral there to cover it, unless you make up the difference by knowingly pulling extra money out of your pocket and paying more for a house than the appraiser just said it's worth. And why the hell would anybody do that? All right. So the appraiser's opinion is the one that matters most. And if you recall, we have a bunch of MLSs in New Jersey, not just one. Although all Jersey MLS, they're really trying to work with the other MLSs to merge to become one giant big MLS in the state. That would be more convenient, but right now they're really officially just Middlesex County MLS, even though they changed their name to Central Jersey MLS and then to All Jersey MLS. Um, they merged with they merged their services. They didn't merge the ownership. They didn't buy anybody out, but they're partnering with other MLSs, the Monmouth Ocean Regional MLS or More MLS. They now merge with the Southern Ocean MLS and the Cape May County MLS. So when you have access to all Jersey MLS, you also have access to Monmouth Ocean, Southern Ocean, and Cape May County MLS. So basically, you have access to Middlesex, Monmouth, Ocean, and Cape May. And then RMLS, that's the Hudson County MLS, except for the northernmost region of that small county, which then is covered by NJMLS, whose main primary area is Hudson, that northern part of Hudson, Passaic, and Bergen counties. Bright MLS used to be called Trend MLS. They cover this southwestern part of the state. If you go from Mercer County straight down to Atlantic and make a left turn, they cover all that as their primary area. And then Garden State MLS covers everything else up here in the northern region of New Jersey. Union County, Somerset, Hunterdon, Warren, Sussex. That's all Garden State MLS. And you can join any of these MLSs if your broker's a member of those MLSs. You're going to have to pay for your own membership, though. And some of them require membership in a realtors association. And
What's Flex MLS? Because I get like fees from Flex MLS.
um, that's Flex MLS is the software that that one of the MLSs use. Uh, it's not actually an MLS. It's just the software that's used.
Oh, it's like a portal to pull out the listings or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Uh,
it's the MLS. It's the software that an MLS uses. Middlesex County used to use Flex, or was it Monmouth Ocean? But it's
yeah,
still
I'm an ocean, so could be
yeah,
that.
it's still an option you could purchase even. Here, let me see if I could log into here. I'm gonna open something here. I'll go into one of these MLSs. And I'll share it on screen in a moment. Just give me 1 second. Let me find it. Where the hell it is? Oh, there we go. Wrong folder. Okay. So this is all Jersey MLS, okay? Broker owned MLS, at least if you're based in Middlesex County, although they're now finally talking about opening it up to other counties, which is good, because if that's the case, then I'm going to move my brokerage out of Middlesex County because it's pretty expensive in these areas. Okay, so let's see. I'm a member, so let me just go in there. We'll do my login. And you can see there's Rapatoni MLS and Matrix MLS. You were talking about Flex MLS. Yeah, that was from Monmouth Ocean, I think. They did the Flex. So Rapatoni is the main one for the Middlesex County or all Jersey MLS. But they also have Matrix, but you have to click to subscribe. They used to offer them both for free. You go to either one. Matrix was the old one that they used to have as their primary. They switched over to Rapatoni, but some people still like the way Matrix was, so they give it as an option. They keep those databases synced up, so you could click to subscribe to it. But you also get access to these tools like Remine, and the Super Appointments, Cubicasa, which could do floor plans and for renting, the transaction forms from Lone Wolf Technologies, which that's for managing transactions. Property Panorama, you get access to free technical support, a helpline when you're a member of All Jersey MLS for anything for your cell phones or anything. They got your orientation videos here as well. Okay, libraries, List Hub to syndicate out listings, flood status reports you could purchase, and all kinds of other good stuff they got here. They got the links to. All right, but yeah, that's just wanted to show you that's Rapatoni and Matrix. Those are the MLS's software that they use, just like the Flex MLS that you asked about. Okay, so your broker is going to sign you up for the local Realtors Association, which is going to sign you up for New Jersey, which is going to sign you up for national. So you're going to be a member of 3 associations of realtors, paying the dues for all 3 at the local level. And then they pay for those other ones. You need to be a realtor, member of an MLS Realtor Association in good standing, meaning you paid your dues and you took the Realtors Code of Ethics training within 45 days of joining. And then you could become a member of most of these MLSs. Okay, every MLS, once again, has a listing of all 21 counties and 564 municipalities. It's just a matter of finding the ones that are primary for the area where you're getting a listing. And you would search the MLS, which is primary for the area that you're looking. Because that's a primary MLS is the one that's most agents use to put listings in to market them for certain areas. So that could change as the wind blows, but pretty much I told you what the layout is, which one covers what. Garden State MLS covers these areas, then you've got Hudson County MLS, then you've got NJ MLS, which covers Northern Hudson and these areas. Then you got All Jersey MLS, which covers just Middlesex County. However, you now get access with the All Jersey MLS to Monmouth, Ocean, and Cape May. But those are MLSs on their own. You've got the Monmouth Ocean MLS, you've got Southern Ocean MLS, and Cape May County MLS. Okay, and then you got that Bright MLS, which is from Mercer straight down to the left. And then these are the commercial MLSs and other tools that are commercial agents use. You could use radius searches and such to get information and data. That's why they're so expensive. How do we terminate listings? Well, broker just fails to perform. They don't do anything. Expiration of the time period stated in the agreement. The listing expired. Abandonment by the broker. Revocation by the owner. However, they may still be liable to pay us a commission if the property sells before our original listing expires. You could terminate the listing, but not the listing agreement. They could just say, hey, we could take it off the market, but that does not necessarily terminate the contract unless you give them an unconditional release from the listing. I don't see why you'd do that. Cancellation by the broker, cancellation by mutual consent. Both parties can agree to cancel. Bankruptcy, death, mental disease, or defect of either party would terminate the listing. Can't have a contract, can't be a illegally binding contract with somebody who's not a sound mind, right? Destruction or condemnation of the property due to unsafe conditions or eminent domain. That's two different forms of condemnation there. Condemnation under eminent domain is the process of taking the property through the court system. Or condemnation otherwise could be a property is closed, it's condemned because it's dangerous and nobody should enter it. And then we have a change in property use by outside forces. The zoning law has changed. Okay, so they're going to change the zoning of what a property can be used for in a certain area. As long as you keep using it though for your current purpose, hey, it's your grandfather. When we get into legal descriptions of land, that's going to be in chapter 19. Legal description of lands deal with surveys, and there's different ways of surveying land in western states than there are in eastern states. And there's also the subdivision, the plat map of a subdivision is also a legal description of land. Property address is not. The reason why I'm bringing this up is I spoke the other day to one of my friends. He has two houses. The one house he has on the Linden Elizabeth border. He's like, dude, in public records, it shows my property's got two plots, and this is my address here. This is my neighbor's address. He said the post office just changed my address. I was like, yeah, sometimes they do that, and there's nothing you can do about it. The only times I've ever seen it done, too, the only time I've ever seen that done was in Elizabeth. And here it is again. I got a friend that's in Elizabeth, and they're changing his address, his property address. Imagine how inconvenient that is. You got to change your address on your driver's license, all your bills, and everything now. The address, you may have lived in that house for a long time and grew up in it, and all of a sudden you got a new address. Your street number, your address is different.
Yeah, I had a friend that had that they changed the number just because it wasn't working, like it was getting people confused. They just changed the number, not the street or anything.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's done because, hey, somebody's building a house in between, but there is no house in between my friend's property and the neighboring property. He has two lots, I guess, and I guess they created another address. They shifted all the addresses down the block. Everybody on the block got their number changed on their house. So now, on top of that, you actually have to physically change the number. So if you got like a sign or something, or labels, or something fancy that's made that has your address number, now you got to change it. That kind of sucks. That's very yeah. And the post office can do it at any time. It's kind of nutty. Anyway, so termination of listings. Here's those things. I just put a box around it on page 167. So these are the different ways you could terminate a listing. It's the same thing that I have right here. I have a little explanation. Same thing. All right. And it's just like we had in chapter 3 with termination of agency. It's basically the same stuff. Here I gave some better explanations, though, a little more in-depth explanations on it. You guys recall that from back in chapter 3. And how do we get listings? Well, how do we get of listed property, their spouses, if required, or their authorized agents, as well as listing salespeople and brokers should sign any listing agreements, disclosures, and contracts. So the listing salesperson can sign the contract in the broker's name if authorized by the broker to be their authorized official to take listings, and they usually are. Remember, check IDs of buyers and renters before you have anybody sign a contract or any disclosures to ensure that they are, in fact, who they say they are, to make sure that you're not getting the girlfriend who's signing as the wife. You know what I'm saying? All listing agreements must include a statement acknowledging receipt by the seller of the CIS. It's the first document you give to anyone you intend to do business with. And what does it do? It's a disclosure of business relationships, including agency relationships. So BSA, a brokerage service agreement, is a good way. It's a contract that you could establish those things and establish the commissions and who's paying them, if the seller's not, how much they're paying, etc. The seller must be given a copy of the Attorney General's memorandum of the New Jersey law against discrimination as well. Anytime you get a listing from an owner, shouldn't say seller, should say owner, because it could be for rent as well. So anytime the owner must be given a copy of the Attorney General's memorandum about the New Jersey law against discrimination anytime we get a listing. You guys got those highlights? Page 167.
Yeah.
What's the BSA?
Brokerage service agreement. It explains what exactly we're doing in exchange for the money that we're earning. And then it specifies the commission amounts and who's paying them. And are we allowed to split them with the other side if we're the listing side? We used to have all that in the listing agreements, but because of that NAR lawsuit and because of NAR caving in and agreeing to settle that lawsuit, which I don't think they ever should have, now we got all of these other disclosures and things that we have to have in writing. So it really changed up the way that the business gets done. Okay, responsibility for disclosure. Licensees are required to investigate and disclose all material information about a property. You guys recall what material information is? From way back, chapter 3. Material information is any information usually about the physical condition of a property that could affect the buyer's decision in purchasing. How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Architectural style, things of that nature. Does it have a garage? Is it attached, detached? What kind of heating or cooling? What kind of fuel is being used? Is it on city services, well, or on well water and septic? You know, things of that nature. It's not necessarily problems. Problems would be material defects. So we're responsible for disclosing the true tax figure, not a lesser amount that the owner may currently be paying because they get tax breaks because they're a senior or a veteran or they're disabled or some other reason like that. Statement of rents and expenses if they're renting the property out. Lease terms, the tenants, who the tenants are, what units they're occupying, how much do they pay in rent, what are the security deposits that you have on file for them. And necessity for certificate of occupancy or fire certificate inspection or disclosures for lead that may be required for transfer of ownership. Flood area information, Is it in a flood zone? Also, it doesn't matter. We need to have that mandatory disclosure now about climate change and flooding that was added to the seller's property condition disclosure report. Any restrictive covenants that the seller may be, that may already be in the deed or that the seller may be creating. We're responsible for disclosing those things in advance. So let me read this to students. As a real estate broker, as an agent of the seller, is responsible for disclosing of any material information regarding the property. Getting as much information from the seller as possible, even if asking penetrating and possibly embarrassing questions, pays off in the long run by saving both principal and the agent from potential legal conflicts or difficulties later on. The agent should also assume the responsibility of searching the public records for such pertinent information as zoning, lot size, and yearly tax amounts, the true tax figure. The true tax figure should be used disregarding any present veterans or seniors or religious exemptions or any addition for unpaid water bills. If the sale of the multiple dwellings, the seller should be ready to present a statement of rents, expenses, who the tenants are, what units they're in, what the term of the lease is, yada, yada, yada. So let's do these highlights again.
Got it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so where do we get listings from? Let's stop right now. I got that list. I'm going to take it off screen really quick. I'll show it to you again. But let me first ask you, where are you going to get your business from? Where are you going to get listings from? Any idea? Any clue yet?
MLS?
Or are you just going to hope that your broker gives you some?
From broker?
No, you don't get them from the MLS. The MLS, those are other people's listings. And you can.
No, I'm saying the broker, from broker.
You're going to starve. If you're going to go to your broker to spoon feed you listings, where are they getting them from?
From
They
the,
get
the
it from people
business.
you know. People you
Or-
meet.
They do marketing.
Marketing, advertising, having their name out
Well,
brings people to them.
So it's whoever calls the brokerage and says, yes, I'm interested in selling my house and I want to sell it with you, which is rare that happens. So you would have to hope that the broker is now going to hand that listing over to you and not an experienced agent who may have been in the business longer that's not going to waste the listing and not be able to actually get the listing or follow up on it. So if you're going, let's just say the broker does give you this listing, how many do you think they actually get? They don't get enough to give to all their agents, you know. So this is why all the brokers, they have unpaid floor time. Basically, it's where you act as the unpaid secretary to answer the phone for a couple hours during the day, so they don't have to pay for a secretary to do that. And that's your. Oh, sometimes they dub that opportunity time. That's your opportunity to answer the phones, and whoever calls, you have the opportunity to whoever's calling. That's a potential buyer or seller or renter. So that's your opportunity time. That's how they sell it to you. But are you required to do this floor time? No, you're not. That would make you an employee and not an independent contractor. So but brokers often try to pull that crap and tell you, hey, it's mandatory floor time that you need to serve this Saturday between these hours and Thursday and Wednesday. That's BS. Okay, there's nothing mandatory. But anyway, if you're going to rely on your brokers spoon feeding you leads for listings, you're going to starve. You're not going to get any. And if you do, it'll be far and few in between. Okay, so where are you going to get your business from? How do you plan on getting listings? Who are you
Word
going
of
to?
mouth?
Huh?
Word of mouth?
How does that work?
Your friend is trying to sell her house or trying to buy or,
So people you know.
yeah.
Okay, so at some point, you're gonna run out of people you know who are looking to sell their homes or buy homes. I mean, how many do you have right now? Right? Maybe none right quite just yet.
Yeah, probably.
You know, so where are you gonna get your business from? Could be one resource. You know, I'm not discounting that. Absolutely, you let everybody you know, friends, family, coworkers, acquaintances, you let them know that you're in the real estate business, and that they should use you and your services. You know, for selling their house or when looking for one. But who else? You know, because you're gonna run out. You're gonna run out of them after a while. Who else? Where do you get money? Where do you get business from? Where do you get listings? How
Do
about,
your marketing.
how about ideas I've already given you in this class too? Where are you gonna get listings from?
You have to put even the hoarding advertisement,
Where?
advertisement on the hoarding.
On the holding? What does that mean?
No, the hoarding on the street. What is called this? Where you can display your name, and if you want to sell, you can contact me.
Billboards? Billboards?
Billboards. Yes, billboards.
That costs a decent buck though. You gotta lay some money out there for that. But yeah, okay, you could advertise on billboards. Where else?
Mhm.
But
You
if
can
we
leave
see
like
some
business
homes,
cards at pizzerias, like when I went to
Business
buy
cards,
pizza
I-
yesterday, I see cards.
Yeah, business cards. I like to refer to them as your mini billboards. But probably the cards you see at the pizzeria is probably one of the people that work there or their family members. You know, their son or daughter or somebody, you know, or close friend maybe. But I don't think they're gonna let every realtor put them up there. But yeah, sure. Businesses putting your business cards up at businesses. I like to refer to them as your mini billboards because that's exactly what they are, right? What else are you gonna get business from? That's kind of passive. We're doing a lot of passive stuff so far, but where else? Haven't
like
thought
we
of that much
see in
yet.
the we see in the market, the homes for sale, which prominent realtor is more, famous in that area, or you know, uh,
So, so, so what was that that you said?
like if we are like searching for homes, like as a prospective buyer, or we want to sell, so we in our area, local area, or whatever neighborhood, we see who's the more prominent, or person who's having good deals done, whether it's buying or selling or whatever. So
Okay, I'm talking about you right now. You're starting in the business. How are you going to get the business? Forget about who cares about the other agents and their prominence. We want to become the prominent agent, but you got to first get some business. So how are you getting your business?
I think this is the hardest question you asked the whole class, the whole course.
No.
we can, mail in, brochures or cards or something that, hey, I'm, here in this area or something.
You can ask people who are 2 people or 3 people you think that might want to be interested in my services.
Just like I asked my past clients, right? Yeah, you could ask people that you know, not just if they're looking to buy or sell, but if they know anybody else who is.
And
But
then the same question to that person
let me
in that way.
back it up a bit.
We can put our visiting cards up, like some all around, in stores or somewhere, convenience.
Sorry, I don't see all the things on the screen. It's not highlighting right now for me either.
Social media.
Wait, hold on a second. The last one with the advertising, who was that? Was that Jody or who was that was talking to me with the advertising?
A lot of people are talking right now. Yeah.
Who was that? Is that
I was
Jody?
saying you could ask people to tell you
Okay, so
who are 2 or 3 people.
that was asked. I don't know who was saying that about the marketing and about the advertising by sending out mailings. Yeah, absolutely. I believe 150% in mailings. You got to put some money out in your business. Mailings do work, but what kind of mailings? There's all kinds of mailings that you can do. What about a list pendants list? Mailing to list pendants list. What is that? A list pendants.
List pendants is the property has some list.
has some lists. Guys, you need to know this one, for example, list dividends. It's when people fall behind on their mortgage payments. It's a
Yeah,
public,
falling behind the payment.
right? So
Yeah.
you put those lists, those people behind on their mortgage payments, and you send them a postcard. Behind on your mortgage payments, in danger of foreclosure, we can help. Yeah, we can help sell your home. Yeah. What about sending out, I'm getting buyers is easy. I mean, I'm talking about getting sellers right now because I mean, for buyers, I mean, you can send postcards to apartment complexes, apartment buildings, but uh, for sellers, how do we get those listings? The mailings, there's all kinds of mailings. I like to send out ones that look like make them look really, really fancy. Even put them on textured papers or woven papers, and you send out these postcards. I've got them in woven papers with gold foil on them, and they're really, really fancy looking and textured. And it says this certificate is redeemable for one comparative market analysis (CMA). Would you like to know how much your home is worth? This certificate is redeemable for one free CMA. And you could even put an expiration date, have a blank line on it and fill it in with an expiration date and send them out. This makes it a little bit more of a sense of urgency. They need to contact you by a certain time frame, And I've had people hold on to those. I put a 1-year time frame on them, and I've had people contact me towards the end of the year, wanting to cash it in, wanting to know if it would still be good, but they're still not ready yet, but they're almost ready, but that's good though. They're holding on to it and they're wanting to use it. So that's our foot in the door to try to get a list. Okay. So there's all kinds of mailings that you can send out. Okay. Now, other than mailings, give me some more resources of where you get listings.
Social media.
Okay, you could advertise on social media, but beware of terms of services. You'd have to do an advertisement there. What else? But you know what? On social media, it's not a bad idea to create a business page for yourself. You have your personal profile, but you got to create a page for any businesses and then advertise that page. You don't advertise products or services on your personal profile. It's actually a violation of Facebook's terms of services. I know that, but plus it doesn't help. If you do it on your own personal page, people just start to ignore you because you're the one always pushing crap that they don't need. It's a good idea if you have your own website. And you have your own website. That's a way to get some listings, right? Have your own website with a blog on it, answering questions, or maybe even doing like vlogs. The video blog posts with the actual write-ups as well on the same page. So you can have a video of yourself, maybe interviewing experts or professionals or mortgage reps, or talking about a particular town or section of town, what's unique about it, and have edit some video and show the area of the town. Maybe even get some if you're familiar with playing around with the remote control helicopters that have the cameras in them. They call them drones. You could fly over and get some nice pictures and imagery of town, share that video, talk about what's going on in the town, or just show nice things and events and what you could do at the town, what's nice about the town, how things are maybe close to shops and this and that. You give a little explanation, and you start doing that for all kinds of towns. You could even make a series out of it. Hell, who knows? You may end up on TV one day because of it. You're the expert realtor in this area who does all this stuff. What else?
Open house.
Referrals.
And you can host open houses for other real estate agents, because those people that walk in, they're not just buyers. Some of them may have something to sell. So you could ask them, where are you living now? Are you currently renting, living with family? Do you own? Do you have something you need to sell before you can buy your next house? You may get a listing out of it. Referrals from who?
I think it goes back to like knowing people. I think like your neighbors, like your close friends, like
So you ask everybody you know and who they may know for business, right? Where else? Where else are you going to get listings from?
I would say that's something that I do for my job as well because it relates to selling. But I would do door knocking. Like I would go to like people business or like barbershop, hair
Oh.
salon.
Or going to business, other businesses, introducing yourself, and then asking to put your business cards and such there. Or you have another idea of doing it, like making small talk with the customers and things. You know, you gotta be careful about that. Businesses may not really want you coming in there trying to solicit their, their clients, to make them feel uncomfortable, but.
Maybe just put my business card like in the
Yeah, that's
asking them for
those
permission.
situations. Otherwise, businesses, you really got to get permission to do things, Um, uh, but that's another option.
Then we can give a small ad in the local paper also, like maybe.
Newspapers are expensive.
Oh, okay.
They're expensive. But the
Oh,
side to advertising in newspapers is that they'll also put you on their websites these days. And when you advertise in a newspaper, you're going to start getting calls from reporters who are writing a story. It may seem kind of unreal at the beginning. Why is a reporter contacting me? I keep having reporters contacting me about wanting my opinion of something. They're basically trying to pick your brain. They're going to have a conversation saying, hey, we're writing a story on this topic. What's your opinion on this? They're going to start asking you questions. And then they're going to be quoting you what you say. And then they're going to write it into a story as you being the real estate expert in this area. And you say this about this topic,
Yeah,
so
Has that
news
has
story-
that
we're going
ever
off
happened
track.
to you?
Yeah,
Were you
yeah.
interviewed on
And we're going
TV?
off track.
Well, not on TV, but it happened to me many times in newspaper. And I was on the front page of the real estate section for one of my listings. They put it because I was talking about short sales. Now they interviewed a lot of other brokers that have been a lot longer than me, but I brought some things up and I was a little more active in my conversation with the reporter. So they kind of asked, they started asking me more and more questions because I guess I was more responsive than the other ones, giving them information. And then they asked, well, do you have a picture that you could send me for one? I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, because I gave them an example of how the property was over $600,000 property, and now it was selling for $300 and something thousand by a short sale. These are the pre-foreclosures when they were in the peak of the market. This is the topic of the conversation of the story. And I was like, sure. So they put my listing on the front page of the real estate section, and then they quoted me, Victor Kaminsky from Jersey Brokers says this, this, and this, and this. And then they also quoted another broker from Prudential and another broker from somewhere else. But I had a lot of my stuff there, and then I had a lot of people actually calling me on my listing. That $600 something thousand listing I was selling for $300 something thousand. I had tons of calls, and I was like, well, that one's actually under contract. I was like, I can help you find other ones. There's many out there. I got a lot more business out of it too. Okay, but that was buyer business, not really so much the seller business. But where else are you going to try to get listings?
We can keep our business cards in cultural areas or some stores.
The mini billboards. Okay, what else?
You got us.
We can, introduce ourselves whenever we, get
Yes.
into conversations
Oh, yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
Well, where are you going to do that? Where are you going to do that?
Wherever we get the gut feeling that here I can talk about it. Maybe I can, you get the feeling about it that here you can, maybe get that person to know that exactly.
Let me help you out. Do you have any hobbies? What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do on an average day? What are you into? Do you like to cook? Do you go shopping? Do you go
I'm
shopping?
into fishing.
Do you do you like to go to the gym? Do you have a sport that you play? Do you have a book club? Are you very religious? Do you go through your religious groups? Are you what is your special interest or things that you do? Do you go to the gym a lot? Let everybody know. Talk to people. Let everybody know you're in the business. put your business cards everywhere, hand people business cards like they're going out of style. You know, by talking to people, kissing their babies and holding them and joking around with people and stuff, you know, this is how you build rapport and you let everybody know that you're in the business. Okay. And then you have those conversations now, not just with your friends, but you're having them with people who are maybe complete strangers that you've seen around, you know, because you've seen them at book club or at the gym, or you know, or at the Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks every morning. You know, now you strike up conversations with people. You know, ask them what they do. Hey, I see you here all the time. Make some small talk. Let them know. Oh, I'm a real estate agent. You know, so here's my business cards. If you're interested in ever looking for a home, or if you're looking to sell one, I'd be happy to help you out. You know, and you know, you just start small talk like that. Don't be all about business push. It's about building rapport in that relationship. You know, if you're just pushing business, people are like, oh yeah. Once you turn around, you know, make those human connections. You know,
Yeah.
and people hold on to it a little bit more. Don't make it seem like you're pushing business. You know, it's just like,
Right.
oh yes, you know, I see you here every morning. You know, it's like what are you going to work every morning at this hour? Or going to or you hitting the gym? You know, I work for this brokerage, so you know, this is part of my routine daily. You know, I just see your face all the time and figure to say hi. And I see you here all the time. You know, not hitting on you, or picking you up or nothing. You know, just want to introduce myself. You know, and oh, here, take my business cards. You know, pop, pop, pop. Yeah, make it all matter of factly. You know.
Yeah, because when we go to some regular places, you know, probably on a daily basis, or even on a weekly basis, we become familiar, you know, and then we tend to just say a hello here or there, or when we, you know, cross each other or something, and slowly we can, you know,
That is a lost art.
yeah,
People are good at, you know, randomly talking, not actually engaging in a conversation, but talking people or making posts, but not actually making human connections. That's
yeah,
that's a lost art. If you could try to build that up to how to have a conversation with somebody, and make it comfortable and not awkward, and
yeah,
no.
they should feel comfortable. I feel like, you know, they should feel like easy, like to talk to. They should not fear or be very, you know, little scared or something to talk.
But this is a skill that you need to master. You know,
Yeah,
I have taken classes on this stuff, and you know, my broker is like, hey, we got a mortgage rep here. I can't go, but he's giving away some tickets to take a class at the Carnegie Mellon. You know, anybody want to go take the class? And I was like, I'll take it. You know, it was about sales from the Dale Carnegie school of something or other, business. So I was like, okay, I'll go take it. It was in a hotel somewhere. It wasn't about real estate. It was just general sales. Most of the stuff never applied to me, but I was always trying to think and get ideas of how some of this stuff can be adapted to my particular type of sales business, right? Because I'm not selling a particular one product that I want people to come back and buy again and again, which is the case for most salespeople, right? Me, it's a different product every time. It's more of a service, you know. But some of the things I was able to adapt. And then other trainers, I take other training courses online. I bought CD sets or DVDs that I could watch the videos, and then also have my agents watch them. There's some trainers out there that are great to watch. You learn how to overcome, like I got a whole series of DVDs on how to overcome objections, and specifically for real estate. What the hell's the one guy's name? The trainers, not the one that's cost you thousands of dollars, that Tom Ferry, and then there's another Ferry, which is his father. They have those sales classes, but there are other ones that are really good. Floyd Wickman. He's old school. You know, you're probably not going to get a training class from him anymore, but he's got his DVDs out there, and he's got he switched to training trainers on how to train people. That's a whole business in itself. My God, I'm trying to think of this other guy. I can't remember. He teaches with humor. It's more down around my line. I like to kid around, so I like to. Let me see. Stay. I'm trying to think of this one guy's name. I can't remember for the life of me right now. My mind just went blank. Yeah, now you find a bunch of nonsense looking up real estate trainers.
Also, I feel like, mouth publicity is very good. If we've done a very successful deal and the client is very happy with us, so they will recommend us also that why don't you go to her or, him, and she'll make it very simple and easy or whatever.
And let me give you some more ideas here.
I have another question actually.
Yeah.
Would getting your license from to another state help as well with getting listings?
No, that's just another place where you could practice, but that's still not going to get you a listing. Simply having a license and getting a license, it's not like build it and they will come. You have to go out there. And
Yeah.
This is a business where you got to go out and get it. All right. So no, not necessarily. So where do you get listings from? You do prospecting, advertising, and your sphere of influence. You know what a sphere of influence is? You make a list of the closest people to you. Who's closest to you?
Coworkers.
Your family. Your family. Family's closest to you, not your coworkers. Come on, man. So you start off with your family and your close friends, and then you start going out from there. Little distant family, cousins, friends of friends, acquaintances, coworkers, their friends and family. You start building out that sphere of influence. These days, that's really easy to do social media. But let everyone know you're in the biz. Don't be a secret agent. That's number one. Friends, family, coworkers, and acquaintances. Social media, but obey their terms of services on how to advertise and market. And I wouldn't just push it on advertising. I would, unless it's with the listings and you offer something special. But a good way on social media to do it is to have your own real estate website, number one. And then you create a blog or vlogs, and you put that stuff on your website. And then on your social media business page, you post links to those stories or blogs or videos that you made onto your business page. And then you share that business page link on your personal page and other websites, right? Or other social media that's related. Having your own real estate website is important. Blogging to questions on various websites that are real estate websites. Can you name some real estate websites that are popular? I'm not talking about other brokerages either or franchises. Can't advertise on other people's websites. Come on, Realtor.com, Trulia, Zillow, City Data. Star Ledger, I'm sure, has a section on real estate. Wall Street Journal, I'm sure they got a section on real estate. But if they have a blog where you could comment on stories, make sure you always put a tagline. You have your tagline you could cut and paste that has your name of your brokerage, all the required disclosures, the phone number, your cell, the brokerage number, the website, all that stuff. And you have that as a tagline. So every story you write, boom, tagline. Every reply you make, boom, you got the tagline. And the link to your website, which now is when search engines cross-reference, they see there's a real estate website with the posts on it, and those posts that are on this famous real estate website that's high ranking, and it is linking back to you because it sees that your website is linked on their website. This stuff starts to build naturally in the search engines now. Let's see, blogging, answering questions. People will see that you know your stuff and then reach out to you. doing cold calling, perhaps, although it's not a fave of mine. I've done it though. Somebody said door knocking. That could be pretty tiresome. I know you end up talking about door knocking on businesses, but you could also go door to door in neighborhoods and start door knocking as well. Just be careful. Some towns have ordinances against this by putting up advertising materials or leaving postcards or knocking on doors. I know Woodbridge Township has all kinds of ordinances against that stuff where they make it illegal. Mailings, postcards, letters, etc., letting people know about your business. Subscribing to list pendants lists and sending out mailings to them. Networking with lenders and asset managers for properties that may have been foreclosed by banks. We call those REO properties. Those are bank-owned properties. HUD, Fannie Mae, and IndyMac also foreclose and have owned properties. So you try to reach out and make connections with lenders, asset managers. Billboards, mini billboards, your business cards. Bus stop benches and public garbage and recycle bin covers. Those things are actually pretty affordable to advertise on. In the corners you see by the light, they got those garbage and recyclable bins, and there's like a little mini billboard there. Those things are pretty affordable to advertise on. Events, go to events, do some networking, go to your town hall meetings in your municipality. Find out when somebody's trying to get a permit to build something, and then stick your business card in their hand, If you got a builder that's trying to build a complex or a high rise or something, or multiple homes, stick your business card in their hand. You make that connection before they ever break ground. What
Yeah,
about
and sometimes we have it on the shopping carts also, like in ShopRite and all.
I got that down here somewhere on the list here. Yeah, shopping carts, branded shopping bags or sports bags, right?
I see it at train stations too sometimes. The
Yeah,
Remax
you
and
tr-
stuff.
I guess you could also get on the buses, sides of buses and things of that nature. But those things tend to cost a little bit more though. You'd have to look into that. But yeah, those are more ideas. Bus stop benches, public garbage, recycle bin covers, event networking, town hall meetings, business networking groups. Join a business networking group where each of the businesses they try to build up their business by having other businesses push their business. Okay, so you become a member of a business networking group where there's only one realtor allowed in it, and one of this type of business and one of that type of business. So you got a realtor, an attorney, an exterminator, someone who does taxes, somebody who makes pizza, somebody who does this or that. And these are business networking groups where you may be meeting somebody at 5 o'clock in the morning, to do these networking groups, and then they exchange business ideas and what they do, and they share their maybe paperwork or handouts, and they all try to promote each other. You can also go to what's that website? There's a website for this stuff too for networking. What the heck is it called? Oh my God, the website that has it's like the red and white badge. Looks like those paper badges you put on when you go to events. It's like their logo. So there's a website for people who are interested in different topics. Maybe they're looking to make friends or somebody to go out and do events with, or do sports or things of that nature, just to make new connections, not necessarily people for dating, but for making connections and friends and events and stuff. Oh my gosh, what is it called? Anybody know? Give me if you know that social media website. It's about networking and let me see. Website for networking and making connections. Meetup. It's called Meetup. Yeah, MEETUP, Meetup. Here, let me even edit this slide to add that there so it's not events. You could also put up their meetup.com, you know, the business networking groups, church religious groups, or social media groups, or even, hey, your church's paper. You know, those advertisements in your church's paper could be unbelievably cheap to advertise in. Hobby, hobby friends. You know, if you golf, play pool, bowling, sports buddies, book clubs, but you like to hang out at the barber shop. You let everybody know you're in the business. You know, all the diner placemats and back to school book cover sponsorships are quite common. They don't work well and they tend to be expensive. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. So those people will try to sell you on those diner placemats and the school book covers. Hey, if you want to just give away some money to be charitable for the kids, that's one thing, and just have your name branded somewhere, but don't expect any business out of it. Promotional materials. Making up magnetic business cards, or you know what, you could just take your regular business cards and buy magnets. They're already cut to the shape of a business card, an approximate size, and you just peel off the a sticky part, and there's a glue on one side. You put your business card on it. You don't need to buy magnetic business cards. You can make your own like that. Magnetic business cards or calendars, you know, those dry erase calendars, those things tend to be a little more expensive though, but hey, you stay in front of people. Desk calendars, to-do lists, magnetic print, to-do lists, those magnetic to-do lists, those things you get a little more affordable, but still a couple bucks. T-shirts, hats, pens, drink containers, stress balls. You know, you go to these city events, you know, like Family Fun Day, you get a table and you put up a banner behind you at a table, you know, blow up balloons and give out balloons. But in the meantime, on a table, there's flyers and of what you're marketing, your services with your business cards and such there too. Let's see, shopping carts, branded shopping bags, sports bags, media such as television, radio, and internet. But local cable actually is very affordable. It's the national media television is expensive, although you can buy unused, unsold advertising, and you can get that for pennies on the dollar. So excess ad space, you could buy that up. So you'd probably always be on like a standby, but it's a cheap alternative to being able to get into national televisions and such. But local cable TV is actually pretty affordable if you meet with the local cable channel for advertising. Who do you got for your cable? You know, you contact them, you reach out to them, you could get on cable TV. You could specify certain programs where your commercial shows, or certain channels, certain times of the day, and where it airs in different neighborhoods. You could even target specific neighborhoods. Yeah, cable TV can target it as they could get that granular and target it like that, so they can make it very affordable for you. Radio tends to be a little more pricey to advertise on. Internet can be affordable, advertising in different places, but make sure your advertisement, you got to make sure the juice is worth the squeeze. What is the audience going to be versus the cost? Who are you targeting? What is the audience that's going to see it? Spend your advertising dollars wisely. Real estate magazines and newspapers, all kinds of print media. Newspapers tend to be a little expensive, but there's upsides to them as well. Real estate magazines, they're more affordable. You could advertise your company's listings. You don't have to have any listings yet and advertise them, but that's going to attract more buyers than anything. FSBOs, for sale by owner websites. You could reach out to the for sale by owners. Expired listings. These people, you know that they're looking to sell. They tried to with a real estate agent. Their listing expired and failed to sell. So try to get those listings, but don't call them until their listing expired. Okay. it's illegal to solicit the business of another broker. But there's a tool that'll help you do that called theredx.com. The RedX can actually give you those list pendants lists, the FSBOs, the expired listings. It uses your login in the MLS to do the searching and scanning, cross-references the phone numbers to make sure that it's not the real estate agent. You just put their phone number next to a listing, and now you're just calling them up, reminding them that their listing expired. It'll cross-reference to see if that's the owner's phone number that's related to them. Open house buyers. Sometimes they have to sell first. We got plenty of other things that we've discussed too, like reach out to funeral parlor directors and maybe make your services as part of their packages that they introduce to people when their families members pass away. They may need to sell the properties. So put together some kind of flyer targeting those people at their time of need, maybe giving them a break on price or something, and you have the funeral parlor director that's offering that to them. Don't go calling people who are in obituaries who have family members just die. That's just morbid. Don't do it that way. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
About FSBOs, I was driving by a certain neighborhood near where I live, and I saw a house up for sale by owner. So I called the number over there, and the guy calls me back, and he's like, I was like, oh, can you tell me about your house? I just wanted to know about the area because just filling it out, seeing if it's something interesting for me to go there.
Yeah.
And the guy is like, and I was asking a question, he's like, are you a real estate agent? So I said, actually not. He's like, oh, you sound really knowledgeable. And I was like, oh, no, just, looking around, whatever. And then I was like, let's say I would be a real estate agent. Like, how would the conversation continue from there? And how would I even know what to do? Like, what would be my next steps,
First of all, overcome any objection that he's about to throw at you. He may be telling you, well, if you're a real estate agent, we're not paying any commission, or we're not looking to list the property. We're trying to sell on our own to save the commission.
Yeah. But then I got scared. I'm like, what do you do when someone approaches you and says your family even comes over to you and says, I'm looking to sell my house. I'm like, what do I do now?
Okay, great. Where's your home? Let's set up a time to come take a look at it. Did you have a timeline when you wanted to sell? When you wanted to get it listed? When you want to sell it by? That you have to sell it by? Is there a sense of urgency? You got to learn about these different things. Why is it that you're selling? Or do you need to relocate? Or do you just want to relocate? Why? Are you looking for a bigger place? You need to relocate for work? What is the reason behind it? You got to find the people's actual motivations for that. And then you set up, I could do a CMA for you. We could find out how much your home is worth, and then we could go over the paperwork to list the property. Don't ask questions to them. So do you want to list it for sale with me? So do you want to, don't be so timid. Say, okay, so we'll go over the pricing. I could do a CMA for you. I could show you how much your home is worth in the current market, and then I could bring over the paperwork, and we could start the listing process.
Okay, but now I feel like, okay, so now you have the responsibility to actually sell that home. Where are you getting that buyer from?
Well, first of all, you put it in the MLS. I got a listing. I got a listing recently, and I put it on the market. I put it on the MLS. I didn't even have a chance to advertise it. The next day, I was swamped with showing requests, and I had a contract the same day. Full price offer. Sometimes they come like that, and if you do have a couple of days, well, great. Now you start putting the ads out there on you do the syndication using the tools that some of the MLSs include for free, or other ones you may need to pay for. Or you just go out there, you put them on you put those listings into the Trulia and Zillow and all those other places, Realtor.com, Homes.com. That one you have to pay for though, but then you get the leads directly that come from that. put out the on websites like Craigslist or other directories where people can also come across and stumble or look for homes. You put the ads in the real estate magazines. You put your listing in there, and to help share the cost of that, even on the cheap ones, you could try to partner up with maybe a mortgage company, a mortgage rep who will they'll get a little bit of ad space on the page as well, but the majority of the ad space is yours. But yet their mortgage company will subsidize your part of your cost of your ads or mailings, or they can run it through their postage machines or whatever, to get those advertisements out there. And then any potential buyers that you may possibly get, you run through them to get pre-qualified for a mortgage, and then they'll be happy with that because that's how they make their money, and the advertisement was worth it for them as well. You could send out those co-branded marketing pieces, that with inspection companies, lawyers, lenders, all that stuff to help them subsidize some of the cost of your advertising and postage and all that stuff. Your real estate website and driving traffic to it will probably eventually get you the most, along with the mailings. So let's add in there even that extra one, All right. We just got some ideas here. We're just spitballing some ideas, but it's a lot more ideas than you guys were coming up with before, right? I'm trying to just help you guys out. Your broker should try to give you some training on some of these things too, but in case they don't, I'm trying to give you some ideas here just to help you out at the beginning, Here's some other resources for you. Here you can get cheap postage without paying for mailing permits and pay for expensive mailing permits and then having to sort the mail in a certain way to comply with the postage to get a discount on the mailings. Instead, I'm going to give you a top secret way that you can get really cheap postage that you send out. It's USPS.com/EDDM. Very top secret. It's the United States Postal Service, but that's every door direct mail. You can send out to entire mail carrier routes for pennies on the dollar. These days, a postage stamp is getting closer to $1 for each household you send it to. With this, you could send out postage for about 20 cents, 21 cents mailing piece. So you can get them out there to a couple hundred or a couple thousand homes for a decent price. Well, how do you make up the mailing pieces? Isn't it expensive for the print shops? Yeah, they are. But you sign up for maybe a Got Print or Vista Print. Hey, listen, if you're going to be in the business and you're going to sign up for that Vista Print, you might as well sign up for the Pro account and pay for it annually. The $200 or whatever they charge for that. The discounts will more than make up for it if you send out mailings on a regular basis. And they also will help with their AI design tools and things of that nature too. But Got Print is pretty cheap. They opened up to the public now. They used to be only seller directly of their print products to advertising companies and marketing companies and stuff that are then going to resell it and mark it up. Local print shops, which they don't have maybe the types of printing machinery that they do, that they could do all kinds of custom stuff and do it at really, really cheap. Yeah, get your own domain name for your websites and maybe to point directly to your social media sites even. GoDaddy is probably one of the cheapest and most reputable ones around there. So your own domain name or two. You know, like www.isellrealestate.com, you know, something like that, you know. But use your name if your name is available. But something simple that the public can remember and is real estate related, perhaps. Now, it's been a while actually since I bought some domain names. I got to go look into it again, but I keep a lot of domain names. I still own many, many domain names. I've been doing this since I was a late teen and I could start to afford it. If I was able to do this when it first started and I was young, back then domain names they started at around $29-$30 each. So you had to have a lot of money, and as a kid, you don't got that kind of money. And my ideas back then actually proved to be good because I remember other people dealing in domains and becoming millionaires just buying up and then reselling those domain names. I got tons of them. I sold a couple here and there. I spent $9 on them, and I sold them for $10,000 or $20,000. You know, not a bad deal. But I also got them so that I could point to my own websites. You know, not just to resell to other businesses. Make sure if you have your own custom website, it has an IDX feed. That's the Internet Data Exchange, so that any listings that feed into your websites can be, you catch the leads on them. And it's like anytime somebody puts a listing in the MLS, boom, that feed is a database tied directly to your website. So people can actually search the MLS through your website. And they could save their favorites and everything and all if they subscribe to your website and create a login for themselves there too. Now you also got their information. And if they keep looking at a particular property in your back end, you can see which properties they have more interest in. You can start reaching out to these people as potential buyers and such. Have information there for sellers and presentations for sellers if you're trying to attract the sellers too. Here's some tools. Realty Juggler is very affordable. They actually give you a 90-day free trial on it too. It does all kinds of stuff. Check it out, realtyjuggler.com. It's a contact manager. It creates advertisement pieces, can create drip email campaigns and all kinds of stuff, just like Top Producer. But Top Producer is a higher end tool that's very expensive. So maybe sometime down the road, you may want to do that, but invest in that. But in the meantime, Realty Juggler is pretty good. Prospects Plus is a website that creates postcards, specifically all kinds of designs and things for different types of situations, specifically for real estate. They even have the software where you could even design your own, and they could do the print as well. Lens Design, they're a custom print house. They got some pretty fancy postcards and such there too that you could have for your real estate industry. And they got some pretty cool technology where the image would change depending on who you're sending it to. You know, like you ever see like a postcard with an image on it where a kid is playing in the snow or in the leaves? Maybe somebody wrote with their finger a name on the windshield of a car covered in snow, but that's the person you're mailing it to. And then the next person, the next door neighbor, the different name changes that was written in the snow. It's really cool technology. It looks so real. The Red X is a great tool to subscribe to that gets you a lot of business. Homes.com, pretty cheap for you to be able to get people's, when you get listings where you could advertise. You could show this to people when trying to get listings. Look, people will be able to find your home in one click. They can do a search on Google and boom, there it is. Homes in Edison.com, and boom, there's your listing. One click goes right to it. You can see it. Fill out your profile on Realtor.com. Use tools like PR. Here are some graphic design page layout tools from Affinity, Canva, or even what is it, Vistaprint too. Let me add that up there too. Vistaprint with subscription now. Let me see. Or, I don't, or, Vistaprint.com. With Canva.com with their subscriptions, they got the free thing that you could get in there, but when you pay for the more advanced stuff, it starts to get a little expensive. You could buy and own like, some pretty advanced tools. You may be thinking, well, what about Photoshop and the Adobe's tools? Well, they really don't. I mean, they may have some lower ones that they sell now that you could still own and put on your computer, but most of them are on subscription basis, which ends up being very expensive in the long run. Where you can own a high-powered tool by a company called Serif. They're an Australian company. They created this software that's a major competitor with Adobe, the Affinity line. I believe they were recently purchased by Canva, which blew my mind. Canva bought them, but they're still developing this tool, so that's good. And it's a great tool to get. They have a photo editing, page layout, and just the general graphic design tools. And those tools are a lot cheaper than Adobe's products. Here, let me see. Let's go to their website for a second. I know I use them. I bought them. They're great tools. High power too. If you're into some graphic design, you're into the technical stuff yourself. Otherwise, don't waste your time on these things. You're going to be trying to learn a tool. If you don't know how to use them, you can take forever to do that. But look, Affinity Designer teaches you how to make look at this, realistic graphic images and such. But they are advanced tools, and they do require some knowledge of these types of graphic design tools. Here's a photo editor. It's got real powerful tools in it, like Adobe's Photoshop. And then I like this one, Publisher. Publisher is a page layout tool for making flyers, brochures, business cards, all kinds of print materials. And the thing is, these tools, Publisher, Photoshop, and Designer, they interlink with each other. It's a really unique concept where you could bounce around from one tool to the other to do a little bit of editing in your designs, if you know and are familiar with this stuff. But I mean, if you want to learn, they also have free videos and all kinds of templates and stuff you could purchase as well. But if you're new to graphic design or page editing and these types of tools, I would suggest using something like Canva or Vistaprint, where they already have their layouts, and you're not creating it from scratch. You're just making the layouts. Although you can make templates with Affinity tools as well, but you own them, and you own them outright with Affinity. There's no subscription. Now, look, if you were to, they got all kinds of add-ons too, where you could get different brushes and things that allow you to do make these graphics look more realistic or textured and such. And these are just additional add-ons that they have for sale for their tool. But if you want to just purchase outright, just their page layout or design tools, like Affinity Publisher, but let's buy now. Let's see, it's available for your Windows or Mac. I guess the prices went up on them with the purchase, but it's still very, very cheap by comparison to Adobe. Adobe, you could be paying this much monthly or bi-monthly, And sometimes you get when you subscribe to them, instead of just buying outright, they start sending you like 50% off deals, or get all of their products. Like in this situation, here's an offer to get all of their products for $164. You can get all three of these. Yeah. Or you could try it for free first. And if you try for free, or you follow them, they start sending you offers in the email. Get 50% off. I mean, I got all three of these. I think it was like $50. Yeah. And it's the latest one. All right. Anyway. QR code generators. Well, Affinity actually has a QR code generator in it, but here is a dedicated QR code generator. However, it's only good for so long, and then you have to pay to keep that QR code active. But it's a pretty simple tool to get a QR code made that people then scan. You put this QR code on your flyers. right, or business cards. People scan it, and information will go right into their cell phone or get pulled up for them. You could you could have different designs of different looks of that scan, right? Have a different look or frame to it. And look, what it does when people scan it, well, it could take them to a specific URL for a website, or it could have the V card, your contact card, which then goes right into their cell phone if they scan it. Or you could send them a plain text message, or send them an email automatically, or uh, uh, SMS messages, or send them to a Facebook page or Twitter page, or send them a PDF document like a property flyer. When they scan a particular QR code, it'll send them a QR code about the flyer about a property, or maybe about your services and offering listings and how you sell listings and why use you, you know, or send them an MP3 audio file or pictures, etc. It's pretty cool to integrate these tools into your business. Remember about those realtor classes? There are all kinds of designation courses that I sent to you guys. I showed you at the end of chapter 3. Showed you all different kinds of classes you could take about how to integrate technology in your business. That's pretty good. Teaches you a lot of this stuff too. Here's some resources for keeping track of your finances, like QuickBooks Self-Employed or FreshBooks. Hootsuite, or a cheaper alternative to Hootsuite, is something called Patty Post, where you can manage all your social media posts in one place. Imagine that. You make a post in one place and it posts to all your different social media websites, formatted for all your social media websites. And anytime somebody makes a response, you can manage it all within one thing. You don't need to go logging in and checking every social media web app. You could do it through one central interface and do a response once to all of them. So that's what Hootsuite and Patty Post does. Look, if you're not graphically inclined to make your own graphics, there are services called Fiverr for design services, for graphic design, for making videos or logos. For as little as $5, you could have professionals, they're bidding to do, showing you different mock-ups of the work you want done, and they'll sell it to you for as little as $5. They put them together really quick. They're experts. They know how to do this stuff super fast. So they put something together for you. There's also another tool here that you get for free with Garden State MLS, and I think you got to even get it with All Jersey MLS, but a more basic version. Let me see. I think I still got it open in the web browser. Yeah, Remind. There we go. So they got Remind Pro training sessions here that you could attend. They're pretty good. Take a lot of notes. I think they do have videos about it. But they teach you how to do reverse engineering to try to get to do data mining to get clients. So this is a pretty neat tool to search the public records and cross-reference the MLSs and all that stuff to get information about look, you could filter out properties by price range, location, areas. You could add filters for all kinds of stuff. Now, to really understand this, you really need to take the training class. This is a pretty advanced tool, but it does require training to understand how to use it. And that could get you listings and buyers as well. And don't ignore your realtor profile. So these are just a bunch of additional resources for you guys. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah. Key information for listings. We got to gather a lot of information. So every MLS has their own input listing sheets. Well, not every, all state MLS, they don't do that. All Jersey MLS, they don't do that anymore. But Garden State still does. They're convenient for us to use. But some MLSs, like all Jersey MLS, they don't want any paperwork from you anymore because of the NAR lawsuits, you know, so they don't want to deal with it. But there's a lot of information we need to gather to put into a listing, and we need to know what information of that we need to gather. You can either walk around the house and start putting in a listing into the MLS, and then print it out and then have your client sign that. Or you go around with these pre-printed listing input sheets, fill out all the information that you need to gather, and then have your client sign the paperwork so that you already have that paperwork, and then you get entered in the MLS later. Along with taking pictures of the house, or you could get pictures, you could order the MLS to take pictures or have a professional photographer do it. But there's a lot of information we need to gather that we could find on these listing input sheets. Here's a Garden State MLS. Here are some listing input sheets. They're updated 8/15/24. For single family, multifamily, land, commercial, businesses, rentals, coming soon, property listing change forms to take a property temporarily off the market, sample listing agreements. Let me see. If you've been instructed to withhold the owner's name or phone number, you have to complete this addendum as well. Housing for older persons, withdrawal form, assignment request. If you want to change brokerages, you could ask the broker if you could take the listing with you. If they agree to that, which I doubt they do in most circumstances, but if they agree, you'd need this assignment form filled out by them. A seller's property condition disclosure statement, and the consumer information statement on New Jersey business relationships. That's the one about discrimination. I'm sorry, about the different types of business relationships. Let's see, did they update the look on this one, or where's that? Let me get that. Yeah, this one's all right. This one's formatted nicely. Has the new designated agency on there. Transaction broker tells you about the different types of business relationships. And that open house sign that you need to have at open houses now, it's required by law. You know, telling people that walk into the open house, I do not represent you. I represent the seller. However, I could represent you too. Yeah, that's basically what that open house sign is. But these listing input sheets, if we were to click on one, just to show you as an example. Let me zoom in a bit. This one's for residential, single family condo co-op. The fields in red are mandatory that need to be filled out. The other ones are optional, but you should probably still fill them out. Like putting on the color of the building. Architectural styles. Is there a basement? What style of basement? The owner's initial at the bottom of each page. What type of roof? Garage? Driveway? How many parking spaces? Does it have an attic? What kind of attic? You know, the lot description, the exterior description. What about pools? Anything excluded from the sale? Directions to the property? Client remarks. Here's where you do your puffing to try to sell it. You do your ad write-up. Here's some remarks that are specifically for the real estate agent that the public doesn't see. Room sizes or levels of the house that the rooms are on. You don't need to necessarily put the room sizes in. Types of rooms and floors that they're on, you know, all this type of flooring in each room too. The kitchen, what style of kitchen is it? What about the dining areas? Any special features of the bathrooms? Is there an in-law suite? Give a description of it. Is it handicap modified? Are there fireplaces? What kind? You know, and what other appliances are included in the sale there? Or amenities or utilities? Is it public or private, or do you have well and septic or what have you? What are the taxes on the property? Monthly maintenance fees if it's a condo, etc. Listing agent's information, the type of business relationship. May the seller consider concessions? What is a concession? It's anytime a concession, when you concede, it's like, think about politicians when they concede in an election, they're giving up, they realize they're beat. So they're conceding to lose. So a seller concession is any money that they give up to the buyer towards repairs or closing costs. Okay. Are they allowing a sign and lockbox on the property? What are the showing instructions? Do they have pets? That's important to put in there. And do they want it to be put on the GardenStateMLS.com or not? All right. So these are a lot of the listing input sheets, information, a lot of information we need to gather. Current tax amount, the true tax figure, not any discounted amount, any HOA fees, etc. So there's a lot of information we need to gather about a property is what this is all about, right? Is it in a flood zone? Here are some resources to find out if a property is in a flood zone. You can do a search of the FEMA flood zone search. You could search that on the RPR app, which is included in your dues. You could also find out on Remain Pro, which is included in Garden State MLS or All Jersey MLS. You get the flood map certifications that you could buy from the All Jersey MLS with the My Flood Status. You get a official flood determination certificate. You could see details, list exactly what will and will not be included in a sales price. Licensees should always ask for a copy of the seller's deed and survey, and maybe even their title policy when they're getting a listing. Have that owner have it ready for you when you come there. And then you could use tools like Adobe Scan to scan it. It's like your live photocopy machine. Does anybody have Adobe Scan on their cell phones?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
It's a free tool, although now they're starting to make some of the features you have to pay for, but generally it's a free tool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have it. Yeah.
Yeah, let me show this to you. It's an excellent tool. Adobe Scan, you could scan directly to PDF or images. And basically any document like deeds and surveys and things like that, these can be oddball sizes, and lengths. So basically, this tool is great for scanning it to a PDF document, or you could scan to images or convert a PDF to images. Yeah, and let me show you how this works. They have some like still imagery here where you could then download these particular tools. But watch the video. So here's the Adobe Scan. This is from the Google Play Store, but you can get it on the Apple Store as well. Here, take a look at the trailer they got here. They detect the corners of the thing. You name it, you could share it. You could even edit it. Password protected, compress it, save as a JPEG image. Edit it. All right. But you could scan oddball sized documents to PDFs, and then you could share them. You could upload them to the MLS. You could do all kinds of stuff with them. It's a great way to scan and give copies of contracts to people that if you have them in writing. When you share documents, I hate when people take pictures of them and send me a document because I can never print it out. It's either prints out at a weird shade and it's way too dark because the lighting was off, or it doesn't scale right to the page and it doesn't fit right. It's either like this big or it's like takes up 10 pages, but if it's a PDF, you could get it to fit to the page, the PDF documents is a lot better. So this is a free tool. It's called Adobe Scan. Now it's called Adobe Scan AI PDF Scanner OCR because it recognizes the text as well. Here, I'll share that with you guys here in the chat window. That's the one from the Google Play Store, though. You want it for Apple? Well, you got to go to your Apple store, wherever you get your apps from for Apple. All right. And so even though you're invited to their homes, don't forget to always check people's IDs, right? We learned that lesson. Check their IDs, check their IDs. All right. Here's an example where an agent got in trouble because they didn't check the person's IDs. They got a listing, they put it in the MLS, they marketed it, they did all that stuff, and they weren't even the legal owner of the property, they found out later on. This agent ended up having to pay a $4,000 fine because of that. And their license was put on probation for a year, had to complete CE, which wouldn't count towards their license renewal. So that MLS listing input sheet is where you gather all that information to put into the MLS. Like, what kind of cooling does the house have? Does it have central air conditioning, window units, through the wall units? Does it have, all different kinds of cooling? Does it have ceiling fans? What rooms are they in? Things of that nature. What kind of flooring is in the room for different rooms? All this stuff you may not think to take note of, but we need to put that stuff in the MLS. Anybody ever hear of a whole house fan? These things are great. You can find them in older colonials, but I guess you could retrofit them in other houses now too. They're usually on the second floor because they're in the attic. And there's usually a hole cut in the ceiling for them where you got these flaps. And then there's a fan that's about, you can see this is the width of a hallway. That's about what? How wide is a hallway? About 4 feet wide. So that fan is usually in the attic, and it's usually between 4 to 6 feet. It's a very large fan in the attic spinning up there. If you ever have a listing that has a house that has a whole house fan, you got to make sure you go up in the attic and make sure there's the fan guard on there. Otherwise, that home will never pass the city inspection because it's a danger to anybody who walks over there. But this is a pretty good thing. It actually very environmentally friendly for keeping your electric bills down, and does a great job in cooling the house, bringing in fresh air. And if you burn any food when cooking, it pulls out that smoke in a jiffy.
Okay, this is a video for people who are wondering what a house fan
Let me make sure I'm sharing that audio here.
is. This is what the grate looks like in the ceiling. We just moved into this house and we weren't sure what this was. Some people, I think, call it an attic fan, but it's really good for cooling down your whole house. So it is a whole house fan. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it on.
This grate was not exactly put in properly, though. It's supposed to be a little more aesthetically pleasing than that. Excuse me.
I turn it on. Oop, it's trying to focus here. What's going on? There we go. All right, here we go. Turn it on. That's high. You can see the fan blade is huge. That's on high, and it creates an amazing breeze throughout the whole house. You have to have all your windows open so it doesn't create weird negative pressure. I'll turn it down to low. There it is on low. It's still creating an amazing breeze throughout the whole house. It works extremely well. So if you're looking for an alternative to air conditioning in a hot area, this thing works great. It's been about 85 to 90 degrees outside. This cools the inside of our house at least 10 to 12 degrees, so we have not needed to run the air conditioning. Plus, there's just constantly air moving through the windows, up through the fan, up through the attic, and I'm sure there's a port up there where it all goes out. But anyways, that's what it looks like. And here I will turn it off. And then the flaps close, and that's it. So that's what it looks like.
That's an
Hope you enjoyed it.
That's an excellent feature. All houses should come with these things. Those things are amazing. They work. I first noticed those in older colonial style houses. They had them on a second floor in the hallways, and the switch is usually in a there's usually like a closet in the hallway, and the switch that's in the closet. They got a switch for the light outside the closet, but inside the closet there's usually a switch for this. Which these things work amazing with the airflow. And she's right. If you got all your windows and doors closed, this thing sucks all the air. If you got any just the windows closed, but you have some room doors open, it'll like suck the air and it'll slam those doors closed. You really got to have some windows open to get the airflow to start getting sucked into the house. And then it goes out through there into the attic and the vents in the attic.
Okay.
All right. So what else we got? Responsibility for investigating. New Jersey real estate licensees are required to fully sign a copy of any sole or exclusive sale or listing agreement. And you got to provide a duplicate original of that to the owner at the time of signing. Remember, check their IDs. And the listing contain a definite date of termination. You got to have a start date and you got to have an end date for the listing. Page 188. Okay. What page 188? Responsibility for investigation. Yeah, at the top. And I just wrote underneath here, check check client customers' IDs. Okay. Cooperation with other licensees. We already know this. We're required to cooperate with other brokers. We do that by sharing our listing inventory unless the owner directs us not to. And then we get them to sign a waiver of broker cooperation agreement, right? That's our cover your booty form. And listings must be shared and entered into that MLS within 48 hours. And any written offer has to be forwarded or presented within 24. So here's just these notes to highlight once again. How many times have we done this and gone over this already in this class? Quite a few, right? Think it's on exam?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so let me know when you got these repetitive highlighted notes again.
Got it.
So Victor, I have one question. So this is the question saying cooperation with other licensees. So one of the question in our review quiz is question number 11 is saying what must be included in any sale sales contracts prepared by a licensee. And I selected answer must contain a waiver of broker corporation's form. It was wrong answer. It was saying must contain the notice to buyer and seller.
Notice to buyer and seller. Wait, what was the question and what were the answer options?
What must be included in any sales contracts
Okay, well,
prepared by licensees?
okay, waiver broker cooperation we know is not going to be required in every sales contract. We're not supposed to introduce it even to people. It's only when they tell us that they're not going to, they don't want us to cooperate with other brokers, do we introduce it to them. Okay, so continue. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I just wanted to state that.
So sales contracts prepared by a licensees. Option A must contain the notice to buyer and seller. Must contain, option B, must contain the Attorney General's memorandum against discriminations. Number C, must contain the waivers of broker corporation's form. Number D, must mention the buyer's purchase of insurance.
And this is for listings. Now, when we go to get listings, we have to give the Attorney General's memorandum. I'm not sure what the first one was, but the Attorney General's memorandum has to be given to owners anytime we get a listing. It tells them they can't discriminate.
Sorry, yeah, that's same thing I selected as the answer. But the answer sheet is saying number A must contain the notice to buyers and seller.
What
I
notice?
didn't get what is this document is, notice to buyer and sellers.
Yeah, I need a little more clarification on that myself. What are they talking about? What notice to the buyers and sellers?
So sometimes maybe the answer sheet is not correct.
Yeah, I don't know what that one is. What notice are they talking about? I need a little more clarification.
Yeah, because this question is very straightforward.
Yeah.
What includes in sales contracts prepared by licensees?
Yeah.
And in my answer, if I make mistakes also, then I still have only these two, B
Yeah,
and C.
No, don't worry too much. Don't worry too much about that that answer or option that they gave right there. Don't sweat that one too much, because without clarifying what notice they're talking about, I have no idea.
Yep. And one more questions answer I am confusing. I'm not agreeing with the answer.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm just looking that. My answer was saying wrong. Discrimination thing. Yeah. So here. Yeah. So a woman is advertising for a tenant for the other half of her home. Which of these ads would violate fair housing laws? And saying A, no pets, B, no smokers, C, no children, and D, none of these.
No children.
So that's I also selected, and but answer is saying none of these.
No, she's you can't. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. This is the other half of her home, though.
Other half of the home.
In a single family house or a two-family house?
It's not mentioned. It's saying woman is advertising for a tenant for the other half of her home.
Some exceptions to the laws of discrimination there, except when it comes to race. But so there could be an exception there for no children. She may not want any children in her house. She got a house and she's renting the other half of the home to someone else. She could say she doesn't want any kids there. But if there's 3 units or more, she can't do that, So yeah, that may be allowed. Yeah, where are you getting these from? Chapter 4?
No, it's 1 to 8. The practice session 1 to 8.
Practice session?
Yeah, on the it's on the review. It's saying cumulative review quiz, unit 1 through 8.
Okay, that's towards the back of the book or something where you're taking that?
Yeah, back of the book. It's a page number 421, 422, 423. And this question number is 40.
comes from chapter 4, though. That's discriminatory stuff. That comes from
Yeah,
chapter.
yeah. So I was also thinking maybe the no smokers because I'm giving my half home, so I cannot put on the ad no smokers.
That's not a protected class, though.
Yeah, that is not protected class. So, but the children and pets is protected class. But answer is saying none of these.
Pets are not a protected class. Children are, but if it's the other half of a home, it's a one family or two family house, they could do that.
Yeah.
Just not if it's three family or above.
No, he's simply saying other half of her home.
Yeah. So she's allowed to do that.
Hmm.
So what's the what was the correct answer on that again?
None of the above. None of these means no pets, no smokers, no children. She can advertise.
Okay. So the question was okay. So none of the above are considered discriminatory. That's what they were getting at.
No, it's saying which of these would violate fair housing laws? It's saying violates, but it's not.
So none of them do. So none of them are considered discriminatory.
None of these considered discriminatory. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes some questions answers look like all correct.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to remember why, because remember there's exceptions to certain types of properties. That's the reasoning why.
Yeah.
So they said the other half of the home. Okay. Everybody got the highlights from the movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, one more questions, Victor, to clarify. It's saying a couple bought their oceanfront home in 1954 for $17,000. This year, they decided to retire to Florida, and they sold the house for $325,000. How will their profit be taxed? So I choose the answer that they will be taxed at the most recent capital gain rate.
How much was it?
See, they bought a house in $17,000 and now selling on $325,000.
Okay. And it's a married couple?
So I chose they will tax as per the most recent capital gain rate.
Is it
But
a married?
answer, come again?
Is it a married couple?
No, it's nothing mentioned. A simple thing, a couple bought their oceanfront home.
So let's assume that they're a married couple.
Okay, couple means they are married couple. So married couple is 500K.
There you go.
Okay, got it.
No capital gains tax for the sale of your primary residence from the profit for up to 500. For single filers, it's up to 250.
Yeah. So I didn't focus on couple. I thought a person. Okay, so that was my fault.
Yeah.
Okay, so saying there is no federal tax on this profit.
No, 0 state federal tax.
Yeah. If it's saying a person bought, then it can be the most recent capital gain rate, correct?
Yep. There's I'm going to give you some updates to our notes and our slideshows for things that we've already done too for chapter on taxes, capital gains taxes, and the big beautiful bill, big beautiful bill from Trump. As I'm going through it and dissecting it, he changed some amounts for some things, and I believe we already went over them. Oh, well, some may be in coming chapters, actually. I don't think we went over some of those things for the tax breaks, for the SALT deductions and such. I could be wrong. It could have already been in that chapter. But either way, with the passage of Trump's recent big, beautiful bill, that there have been some changes in tax deductions and stuff for higher tax states. In order to get his bill passed, he had to agree to raise the amounts. The Democrats wanted him to be able to raise the amounts so that people who pay very high taxes in their very high tax states are not going to be attacking those politicians. Instead, he was able to get his bill passed if he raised it up a little bit. Then he was able to get enough support for that. but to be able to pass that bill. But on SALT tax deductions and things of that nature, which deal with deducting mortgage interest payments and things of that nature. I have an article on it, which we could actually go through later, but not right now in this chapter. We got to get through this chapter. So let me continue on here. Okay, so negotiability of commissions. Commissions are always negotiable between the agent and the seller. Also now, the agent and the buyer, because the sellers in the past, it was always the seller to pay the commission, and that gets split between the two sides. But in the event of that NAR lawsuit, now the buyers can pay commissions directly to the buyer's agent as well. So commissions are negotiable. I'll just switch this up between the agent and their client. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if state exam questions have been changed yet to match up these NAR lawsuit stuff. But in case it should have been by now. It's negotiable between the agent and their client. So if you put an offer in for sale by owner property, you got to put in there because you didn't have a listing that would have given all the disclosures and such. You have to put this disclosure in there that you don't engage in illegal price fixing and that all commissions are negotiable. That's all that this is about here on page 188, where it talks about negotiability of commissions. So we have those brokerage service agreements now that say who's paying the commission. We have one with the seller, we got them with the buyer, we got them with everybody that we work with. All right, here's some examples of disclosure about price fixing. And we put that in our listings and brokerage service agreements. Here's a listing agreement from All Jersey MLS. You have the right to individually reach an agreement on any fee, commission, or other valuable consideration. That disclosure is already in our listing agreements. So we don't have to worry about typing it in anything when we got a listing. However, when we put offers in on for sale by owners, it needs to be written into the contracts because we never had a listing with the FSBOs, the for sale by owners, right? So here's another example on the Garden State listing agreement, which is also a combination brokerage service agreement. It says the same, it has that same disclosure here. You know, as seller, you have the right to individually reach agreement on any fee, commission, or other valuable consideration with any broker. No fee, commission, or other consideration has been fixed by any governmental authority or by any trade association or multiple listing service. Broker's compensation is fully negotiable and not set by law. All right, again, here's the slide that we've seen so many times about what price fixing is. Once again, that disclosure that we need to be putting into contracts and listing agreements. And here's what price fixing is. It's an agreement between competing firms to establish an industry standard on commission rates charged to the public. It's prohibited by federal and state laws and the Real Estate Commission rules. The Sherman Antitrust Act, we went over on page 55, prohibits price fixing and allocation of markets. It's prohibited by the Real Estate Commission as well. And violations of the Sherman Antitrust Act are considered a misdemeanor, punishable by a $1 million fine and up to 10 years in prison. All the penalties can be higher for corporations and trade groups, upwards of 100 million or more, plus damages and legal fees. So when you're selling a property, these are some of the disclosures. Let's see, selling, we got the seller property condition disclosure report that the owner needs to fill out. We already went over that report before, if you guys recall, in the earlier chapter. Here's just a link to it again. It has all those where the seller discloses any knowledge about any the general information about their property, as well as any improvements or defects in their property. And we must refuse, remember, we got to give the Attorney General a memorandum to anyone we take a listing from at the time we get a listing. It informs them that the property owners that they cannot discriminate when putting their property on the market for sale or lease, whether they use a real estate agent or not. And real estate agents must refuse to take listings from owners who indicate they intend to discriminate. The listing commission has to be handwritten on our listing agreements or brokerage service agreements. Got to be expressed as a fixed dollar amount or a percentage of the sales price. No prescribed fee schedules, where you say pick one, 6%, 7%, 8%, 9%, 10%. That's not negotiable. That's what we refer to as a limited prescribed fee schedule to select from. That's not legal in New Jersey. And then we have, let's see, the expiration dates must be on all listings in order for them to be valid. All right, so the Attorney General's memorandum talks about the New Jersey laws against discrimination as well as the federal anti-discriminatory laws. And once again, we give it to owners at the time we get a listing, and we must refuse to take listings from owners who indicate they have an intent to discriminate. So on page 188, that's where we highlight that under Attorney General's memorandum. Not the first time we went over this. We went over it in chapter 4 as well. And page 189, we can highlight all exclusive listings must specify an exact termination date. So all listings that begin with the word exclusive agency, exclusive right to sell, these listings must have a termination date listed in them. You see that? That's like in the middle of the page 189 under expiration of listings.
Yeah,
Yeah, got it.
exact termination date.
When people tell us, well, how long of a listing do you need? Well, try to get a listing as long as you can. I mean, of course, you're gonna try to sell somebody's home immediately, but we can't guarantee someone that a home's gonna sell, and or when it's gonna sell, or how soon it's gonna sell. So don't ever use that kind of language. Don't ever tell somebody, I guarantee you I'm gonna sell your property. You cannot make a guarantee like that. Do not say things like that.
Not make any promises or guarantees.
Yeah, don't make any promises or guarantees, especially ones that you know that you can't keep. You hope that you're going to sell it because that's how you make your money. That's how and when you make your money, but you can't guarantee it. So how long of a listing do I need? Well, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I need you to help me help you sell your home. How do we determine if they want us to figure it out in a mathematical computation? There's a way to do it. You can take the number of homes that are on the market in a given area, you divide it by the number of homes that sold in that area last month, and in theory, that'll tell you how long it'll take for the market to absorb all the listings. Okay. That's what we call an absorption rate.
No comments. And so it goes on and on and on. So I blame several people. I blame the governor.
All right, I'll mute that. So this is called the absorption rate. It tells us in theory how long it'll take to sell all the homes on the market if no new homes come on the market and if the number of buyers remains constant. So it's not an exact science, but it's a way to get that and figure it out. Let me remove this statement that we could usually justify 6 to 12-month periods on a listing of a listing period, because that's not necessarily the case right now. Let's see. All right, so the Garden State MLS has has a calculator for calculating absorption rates built into it, you know, but other MLSs do not. But this is a way that you could check. And even in the Garden State MLS, it's just general for certain areas. But if you want to like see what the absorption rate is, even for a particular neighborhood, you could figure it out using this computation, using this formula. So here are some things to consider when determining how long you should take a listing for and dealing with the seller's objections you're going to have to overcome, because they're going to say, well, my home is nicer. It should sell quicker. Yeah, well, how much are you asking for it? Did you want to try selling it for a higher price because your home is nicer? Well, it may take longer to sell it then. What about the showing availability? Is that limited? Because you only want showings when you're home, or are you going to allow us to put a lockbox on the property? What about pets? Do you have pets? Do we need to board them? Because we can't be showing properties when you got pets. We got to worry about it. Some people, this could be dangerous for some people, and there's liability here. It doesn't matter if it's a little tiny dog, or if it's a Rottweiler or pit bull. We can, you know, especially if it's a bigger dog, you know, but any animal, we really need to board them up or have them boarded when showing homes, because some people are just scared of animals. It seems like it may be an unreasonable thing. But I remember I was showing a listing one time to this lady, and she had this tiny. We went to this house. We went in. I'm knocking on the door. Nobody's home. Use the lockbox to go in. We go into the house, and we're standing there in the living room. I'm turning around, waiting for her to come in, and behind me, and I see this tiny little thing on the floor in front of me. This white little thing. I thought it was a toy, like a wind-up toy, of a little dog, and it was like. That's what its bark sounded like, and I was like, what is it? What's that thing? A freaking toy? And I pushed it with my foot, and then it moved. I was like, holy shit! I was like, that's a real dog. So I picked it up and put it in the palm of my hand. That's how tiny this dog was. It was the cutest little thing you've ever seen in your life. You just want to hug it and squeeze it to death, you know. But this lady that I'm showing the house to, I was like, look at this thing. She's pulling on my shirt, and she's like pulling it over my shoulder, trying to hide behind me. She's so scared. I was like, I was like, are you for real right now? And yeah, she was deathly scared of the thing. Like she'd never seen an animal before in her life. We have to be careful, because things like that, these kinds of reactions, this lady could flip out, fall over something, break a leg, arm, or neck or something. And, you know, we got to be careful about that. Now this thing, it was the animal itself wasn't going to harm anybody. But what if we had a bigger dog or something that was more aggressive, you know, and actually bit somebody or chased them, or, you know, these are lawsuits waiting to happen. So always check the showing instructions. And when it says pet instructions, you do not go to that house until you've spoken to somebody, the listing agent there, about what those pet instructions are. Because I've had an instance before where I went to show a house, and you know, I make a lot of noise. I like to rap on the door a lot, make a lot of noise. Then I just open the door, I stick my head in, and I yell, you know, realtor, realtor, realtor. And as I'm walking through the house, we're already in the house, and we start going upstairs or downstairs before we open up a closed door. I'm like, realtor, realtor, because you never know, somebody could be sleeping in the house, you know, or maybe doing something that they normally wouldn't do if they had guests in the house, you know, and you don't want to walk in on somebody doing the nasty, you know, but you know, it happens sometimes. So you got to make sure that you keep announcing yourself. And even when you do, sometimes people don't hear you, you know. So I ended up showing this whole entire house. And then we come back, and I showed the bedroom on the first floor. And then we walk back out to the kitchen, and we're talking in the kitchen with the husband and wife who's holding her newborn baby. And out of the bedroom that we just came out of comes some sort of a dog similar to a pit bull, some kind of a dog similar to that. And he stops and he's like shocked to see us. And he goes, "Oh," and starts barking and chasing after us. And we spread like cockroaches to the closest rooms and close the door, and all we can hear is this throaty growl. It's like, holy crap, thank God nobody got bit, but I tried, it said, the listing said showing instructions, pet instructions, please call. I called many times. I tried setting this appointment a week in advance. I called the office. I spoke to the office several times, and they said, nope, it just says pet instructions. You got to, I guess, reach out to the listing agent. I'm like, I have been. They already set up the showing appointment for me, that everything was approved by the office. And I've been leaving messages for the agent. She didn't get back in touch with me. But after this experience, and we finally were able to sneak past that dog and get out of that house without anybody getting bit or hurt, I get a call from the agent. Don't go to the house. There's a dog there. He will bite. The dog is deaf. So usually they notice when you knock on the door or you're yelling, realtor, realtor, realtor. But this dog didn't notice. He was sleeping under the bed in the bedroom that we just showed. So when he came out, he was coming out for a drink, and he was shocked to see us there. He came out charging. The dog was deaf. I mean, who ever heard of a deaf dog? I mean, I guess it's possible, obviously, but I mean, who the hell ever really actually encountered a deaf dog before? So you wouldn't think of that, and that was the situation. We ended up getting chased by like a bully type dog that was deaf, and this lady holding her newly born infant. Thank God nobody got hurt. So make sure, it's very important to board those animals, and to when making appointments and showing properties, and as a listing agent, but also as a buyer's agent before you go show them. All right, so if the person has pets, there may be restricted showing times. They may have allergies or odors, and sometimes owners of properties have gone nose blind. You know what I'm talking about.
Sadly, Angela's gotten used to the odor her cat leaves in the couch. She no longer smells it. Yep, she's gone nose blind. We staged an intervention to help her sister break the news.
To the left. This is exactly what your house smells like. For real? Yes. Oh, you are tripping. Really?
Febreze Fabric Refresher eliminates pet odors you've gone nose blind to.
It smells good.
One of the many ways Febreze...
People get so used to some of the odors that your nose has, your body is amazing. Your nose has these receptors that pick up scents in the air. Okay. After a while, it turns them off. So you don't smell it after a while. Like even if you enter someone's house, you initially smell something, maybe whether it's musty smell or some kind of nasty smell. After a while of being there, you no longer smell it. You ever notice that? Even with cooking. You smell something, but then after a while, you really don't, you barely smell it, if at all, anymore, because your body's trying to protect its organs. Your receptors get turned off there. So this is a good way to convey that message to property owners. Hey, have you gone nose blind? Not bad to put a Febreze commercial in your listing packages that you go show. Here's another example.
You get used to pet odors in your car. You think it smells fine, but your passengers smell this. Eliminate odors you've gone nose blind to for up to 30 days with the Febreze Car Vent Clip.
Wow, it smells good in here.
So you and your passengers can breathe happy. You get used to rooms smelling of sweaty odors. Yep, you've gone nose blind. You think it smells fine, but others smell this. Use new Febreze Fabric Refresher for...
Well, I mean, this isn't meant to be an ad for Febreze, but it's a pretty clever marketing campaign. Have you gone nose blind? You no longer smell the odors, but other people do.
You get...
So it's a thing that may be uncomfortable. How do you bring it up to somebody that their house stinks? You know, um, how about a Febreze? Show them a Febreze commercial. Say you may not be aware of it because you're used to it, but first thing I came in, I asked if you got a pet. I immediately can smell you got a cat. You got a litter box. Maybe change the litter in the litter box more often. Clean it out more often while the property's listed, or change up the litter type so it doesn't smell. But you could smell it, and you got to be aware that buyers will too. So, I know it's an uncomfortable conversation. I'm not meaning to insult you or anything, but this is a reality when selling things. So we need to cover those things, those odors up, or eliminate them somehow. Maybe relocate the litter box, or change it more often, or use a different type of litter while you're trying to sell this property. If you got a kitty cat, if you got dogs, we need to board them, make sure nobody gets bitten or scared by them, and then they get hurt and someone gets sued. Maybe leave the pet tied up in a garage or outside if they have a dog house or something like that, or board them with your neighbors or relatives so that we could show these houses, your house, when you're not at home. So some other objections to overcome. People say, well, it was nicer, so it should sell quicker. Or here's some agent considerations that you could fire back with. Well, the listing price, is it correct, or did the seller want to try it for a higher price? What about the showing availability? Are there any pet restrictions? Any pets? Restrictions, show times, allergies, odors? Has the person got nose blind? What's the condition of the home? Is it that shiny penny on the block ready to show in HGTV condition? Or is the person a bit of a hoarder? How's the curb appeal? Sometimes people get first impressions before they ever enter the house. Does the doorbell work? Is the front door have paint peeling on it? You can scrape the front door and repaint it. If the doorbell don't work, go buy a cheap remote control battery operated doorbell. Because people make their first impressions. Oh, geez, the doorbell don't work. I wonder what else is broken in his house. What about the showing condition? It needs to be that shiny penny on the block. HGTV clean for showings. Is the bed made every day? Dirty clothes, make sure they make it to the hamper. Nobody needs to see your crap stained underwear laying in the middle of a floor. Yeah, that happened. I've seen that when showing houses. Is the tub drain clean, or is there a little fur monster growing in it? You get people that shop for homes and they're like, oh yeah, we know what to look for. We know to look past people's belongings and stuff and to look for good bones of a solid structure of a house. Yeah, you learn that by watching HGTV, but when you actually get into the house and you actually see the sights and smell the smells, something changes. So yeah, that could be an issue. We need to bring it up with homeowners when we have listings that we're trying to sell. What about the taxes? What's the true tax figure? And is the property in a flood zone? If it's high taxes, you may have a little trouble selling it. Or if it's in a flood zone, may need a little longer listing time. Are we allowed to use a lockbox or post a for sale sign on the property or not? Well, it may take a little longer then. What about clutter? Hoarders or collectors? Okay. Is there a lot of garbage laying around? That can affect, and you should bring things like that up to people. Now, this is an issue. I'm telling you, it's an issue. I could prove it. I could show it to you. It's an issue. Let me see. I got some images I could show you. Ones that when you see, you cannot unsee. Let's see. So this is length of listing period. Here, I gotta add these to the slideshow. There are some pictures I could show you right now, of listings that I've had. Let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. That ain't it. Hmm. I don't know, for some reason that's not opening. Okay, if I can do a search here, find the whole listing. Trying to show you some pictures. Not every house is in HGTV showing condition here. You know what? I'll hold that off till later. We can look at it after break time. Let me get this slideshow back up. All right, so we have there's the condition of the front door. You know, have them scrape and paint it if it's paint is peeling on it. These are cheap, easy fixes. I'm not gonna have them remodel the whole house, but make sure the owner's kids remove any posters that may be offensive or have like pictures of nude women or something, you know, on the walls. I've shown houses like that before. I'm like, how do you expect to sell a house like this? I was showing a house with husband and wife and their 2 little children, they're holding the toddlers, and we're going through the second floor there, and there's like big posters of naked people on the wall. Is the property distressed? Are they going through bankruptcy, divorce, short sale, foreclosure? Is it an estate sale? If it's those types of listings, well, we need to take a different approach to try to sell them. And in some cases, like a bankruptcy, we may not be able to. How much commission or cooperation, if any, is being offered? If any is being offered. Any chattel included? What's chattel? Tangible personal property. Are there any fixtures that are excluded from the sale? Are there any seller concessions that are being offered or agency bonuses if the house is sold quicker or at a certain price? Are they offering a home warranty at all? Owner is the one that determines the listing and asking price with advice and counsel from us, the real estate agent, who help guide them in what that amount should be by doing a CMA. CMA is a comparative market analysis. We do that for consumers free. BPOs, we do them in exchange for a fee for lenders usually. It's called a broker's price opinion. It's the way that we price properties. So CMAs are usually complimentary. It must never be called an appraisal because we're not licensed appraisers. I tell you guys, take that CMA workshop to learn how to value homes that it's taught by those groups of appraisers. It's less than $100. It's worth it. You take it with Ottawa, OTTEAU.com. Highly recommend. The actual selling price, though, we need to make sure the owner is aware, is determined by the public, by the buying public, what a ready, willing, and able buyer is willing to pay. That's the market value. How much the public is willing to pay, not based on some ridiculous amount that a seller may have in their head. All right. So we also can't guarantee that if we could tell you what the market value is based on supportable evidence of recently sold similar homes that have sold. But we can't guarantee it's going to sell for that price or what price it's going to sell at or when, or that we're going to get offers. So let's highlight on page 189. It's ultimately the seller who determines the listing price for the property. A broker or salesperson can help determine the listing price by doing a CMA, and that a CMA must never be called an appraisal.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everybody good? All right. So the broker should convey to the seller the fact that the eventual selling price, however, is set by the buying public through the operation of supply and demand. This is on the next page, page 190. Down all the way at the bottom of the page. So when we do a CMA, it's the agent's job to educate the seller. Remember, I told you the way to become a good agent is you educate your clients. So you got to educate the seller to come about a reasonable asking price. The seller sets the asking price. The market determines the value based on how much buyers are willing to pay. You must have at least 3 comparables when determining the value of a property, just like an appraiser would. They got a minimum of 3 properties to compare it to. And then we'll have 3 active listings, 3 under contract, 3 solds, expired, so that we could have a comparison. And remember, we're doing a presentation with the CMA. This is not just an appraisal telling them how much their home is worth. We're doing a comparative market analysis. Why do we show the active properties that are currently on the market to the sellers? Well, we want to show them the active listings so they can see what other homes are available in the marketplace. But we're not doing this. We're not showing them to look at what their asking price is because that's irrelevant. So far, these homes have failed to sell. We're just looking to see what the competition is out there. How many homes are on the market and what do they look like? They could be overpriced and they're not going to sell because of that. We want to look at the homes that are under contract to get an idea of the activity in the marketplace. How many people are actually pulling the trigger and making offers that the sellers are finding acceptable? Once again, we don't look at the price in this because we don't know what that actual offer price that was accepted. And we're not going to know. You can't go calling the listing agent asking them because they won't tell you. That would not be treating the parties in their transaction fairly. So it would be a violation of their fiduciary duties to the seller, as well as fair and honest dealings with the buyers who have made the offers and their agents. So that's why we show sold listings as well when we do a CMA. These are the ones that we look for the price, because these ones have successfully sold. We know how much they sold for, and therefore we compare these properties to the subject property we're trying to determine the value on when doing a CMA, and then we make adjustments for the differences. The difference in size, style, condition, amenities, relative location, even though it should be in the same town, should even get it in the same neighborhood if possible. Expired listings, why do we show those? Well, we want to show what failed to sell thus far. maybe it was the agent's fault because they always blame the agent, but maybe it was the agent's fault. Maybe they didn't take any pictures whatsoever and put them in the MLS. I've seen that. Sometimes I see them take pictures of the inside and the back of the house, or just the back of the house. And I was thinking, why would somebody post a picture of the back of the house in the MLS and not the front? What kind of warped kind of thinking is this? Maybe they're trying to just not let people see that the property's on the market so the agent can try to get their own buyer for it. So maybe they're playing a little reverse psychology game there. I don't know. Or maybe the house looks like crap. I don't know. Maybe the agent took pictures of the front of the house on garbage day when the sun was behind the house. And therefore it washed out all the colors. Now it looks like a black and white photo with a bunch of garbage cans in front of the house. Remember, your salespeople take nice pictures. If the sun is behind the house, come back later in the day when it's to the front. And then you take nice pictures where the sun is lighting the house very nicely and it's not going to wash out the colors. Or hire a professional photographer to do the photos. Okay. Don't go crazy taking too many pictures at every single angle in virtual tours. It may be tempting to do so, especially with your smartphones that have excellent cameras on them. If you show people every single angle and corner of a property and do virtual tours and all that stuff, a lot of people are going to get the idea that they don't even need to go to the house. And that's not your job as salespeople. You're not going to sell things like that. You got to tease people with the photography where they're wishing that they could see more. I wish the agent posted a few more pictures. Okay. So you got to get them to that point. You got to find that happy medium. Have a couple of good pictures, but don't have too many. Keep that happy medium where somebody may be wishing that they could see more. And then they set an appointment up so they can come and see more in person. Right? Even when people like to do those, they got options now, even in the MLS, where people can request that you do a virtual tour with them with your cell phone and walk them through the house virtually. Why? What the hell are you going to sell virtually? Who's going to buy a house without actually stepping a foot in it? You think somebody's actually going to spend that kind of money without actually stepping foot and actually viewing the house? Come on. You're salespeople. Learn to sell. You got to tease it a little bit. You ever hear that saying, why buy the cow when you could get the milk for free? Kind of the same situation there. That could work for dating as well. Some of the things that people post online anyway. So days on market. How long did the seller give us the listing for? Or advertise days on the market. Maybe we have a longer listing, but it was a lot of delayed showings because it was a coming soon. How long was the property actually on the market for? Did the owner give us a sufficient time to try to market and sell the property? Could be that too. So this is all part of our presentation to try to figure out this and explain it to the owners. So we could get them to give us a long enough listing and to price it right. But what if the seller gives some objections? They say, well, I need to get this much money from a house. You could say, well, they don't care how much money you needs to get. They care about what the actual value of the home is, right? Are you going to base your offer as a buyer based on how much money the seller needs to get? Or do you want to base it on what the actual value of the home is? But the owner could say, well, I could have gotten this much if I sold it last year. Well, here's your objection to that. You're overcoming that objection. Well, you should have sold it last year, but the current market conditions don't support that price. This is what the prices are in the current market. But I put into the house so much money for improvements. Yeah, but most improvements don't pay back 100%. So not only will increase the value enough to recoup the entire investment for the improvement. But the house down the street sold for so much, and my house is better than that one. Sure, we're comparing similar properties and then make adjustments for the differences, including the differences in time. When did it sell? It was like last year or 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, well, that's a long time. A lot changed. Well, let's just try selling it higher price just a little while at the beginning. Well, this should be your response to overcome that. Well, the first few weeks, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that a listing is on the market are the most crucial. And during this introductory period, listings can get stale if overpriced. And the longer that it sits on the market, the more buyers will question what's wrong with it. The first price reduction will probably be more than the total commission that I'm charging you to begin with over a period of time. So don't argue about the commission that I'm charging you. But don't get caught up chasing the market by overpricing the property in the beginning, or you may end up losing a lot more than anticipated. Oh, we're missing something here on the slide, which is not completely showing. Let me get to that slide. There we go. You may end up losing a lot more than anticipated, especially in a declining market, let alone a stable one. Here's also another good, important question to ask. Ask the seller this. This may sound like a ridiculous question to ask a seller, but ask it. It is important, and be serious when asking it. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we agreed upon a listing price to list your property. What will you do if you get a full price offer the first day or the first week the property's on the market? Are you willing to actually accept it? Or are you going to think that it's underpriced because we got this offer so quickly? And then you're going to get greedy and not accept it. You're going to not accept this gift that's standing right in front of you of a full price offer that came very quickly, because now you think it's too quickly. Maybe we could get more for the house. Maybe we undervalued it that we got that offer price so quick. Well, if they're lucky enough to price it right, get a full price offer from a buyer, then they place their home on the market. Some people get second thoughts that they may be able to get more and mistakenly don't accept the offer, and no other offers then ever come in later. I've had that happen. So it's very important to address this question before you ever place the property on the market, and then have the discussion with the sellers. Okay, we agreed upon price now, finally. Are you willing to, if we get a full price offer the first day or the first week it's on the market, what will you do? Will you accept the offer? Or are you going to get nervous thinking that we could have gotten more because this offer came in too quick? I can't guarantee any offer is going to come in at all. But if it comes in, don't get spooked. Because I've had clients in the past, and you could tell them that, even if you haven't. You could tell them, hey, I've had clients in the past that we've done this for. We put the listing, we priced it right. All the stars were in alignment. Buyer was looking for a house that met your criteria of your home in this price range, and they made an offer on it. So all the stars were in alignment for both parties, where they found their home and you got a buyer and they made the offer and everything is perfect. Perfect timing. All the stars were in alignment there. You hit the jackpot. And then the seller says, whoa, too quick. I may be able to get a couple bucks more for my house. So then they reject the offer, make a higher counter offer. That buyer says, see ya. And then you never get another offer for the entire year that we have remaining on the listing. I've had that happen. you know? And it's like, son of a gun, you know? And they'll probably end up blaming me, but I did my job. I got them a ready, willing, able buyer the first couple of days it was on the market, right? It happens. So this is an important question to ask. All right, we're done with this chapter. Let's do the key terms to review. There's only 5 or 6. Organization of brokers who work to sell each other's listings. We're doing the key terms to review right now. Organization of brokers who work together to sell each other's listings. What do we call that?
Open listing?
Open. Oh, done. Exclusive.
Multiple listing service.
It's the MLS, the multiple listing service. That's how we share our listings with each other, right?
Yeah.
Or is A, price comparison for seller's use when listing.
CMA.
The CMA, you do a CMA for them. 1 is B. Listing given to any number of brokers, only the selling brokers paid.
Open listing.
6 is C. A listing that promises broker will be paid unless owners sell on their own.
Exclusive.
Exclusive what?
Exclusive list.
Right to sell.
No.
No, exclusive right to sell. Not.
Exclusive C listing. 2 is D. Listing that states the broker will be paid no matter who sells.
Exclusive right to sell.
Exclusive right to sell.
That's the exclusive right to sell. 3 is E. And an illegal listing, the broker keeps everything above a certain price. That is called
Net listing.
5 is F. And that concludes this chapter, chapter 10.